Hi everyone, so we are on the very last day of my sock onesie monkey challenge. Said that wrong, but anyway, let's carry on. So I've still got the socks on, you can see. So yeah, sorry there was no video yesterday. It's going to be a bit of a long one today. And so my first letter actually fits in really well. So S we're on at the moment, so self-care. So yesterday was a great day. I went over to London to do some campaigning training for Beat. So it was a lovely day, I had such a good time. But by the time I got home, I was really tired and decided that actually I needed to take care of myself and actually not do the video. And so that's something in recovery that's really a hard challenge for people, but it's really important, self-care. So that's the reason why there wasn't a video yesterday, but that's helps really to get across my first point. So then the second one is T, which was a hard one because there's quite a few words beginning with T, but I've chosen treatment. Now there are lots of different options for treatment. There's inpatient, outpatient and day patient are the three kind of common ones, but then in that there's also lots of different types of treatment. So if you have therapy in an outpatient setting, it may be CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, or it may be DBT, which is dialectic behavioural therapy, and there's so many different types. So I think it's really important that it's a treatment that works for you. And so although it's hard sometimes, don't be afraid to say to your therapist that a certain type of therapy isn't working. It's not their fault, it's not your fault, it's just it doesn't seem to be working, and then it's good so they can know, so you can move on to a different type. TU. So I've decided to talk about university. University can be a tricky one for people with eating disorders, but also for people who may develop them at university. Because there's a lot going on. For me, I was going to a new place, I didn't know anyone, I'd never really lived independently before. I'd obviously stayed in an inpatient unit, but that's not the same thing. So it can bring challenges, and I know people who haven't been able to stay at university, and it's been in their best interest, really, back to the self-care, to drop out. But actually for me, university was a really good thing. It really helped me. I got involved in some of the societies and things, and just living with a great group of people as well. It's just been such a good and important part of my recovery. So I guess that it shows that everyone's different, and just because you might not be able to stay at university doesn't mean you're any less of a person. So that's U, T-U-V. So one important part of recovery for me has been being able to see what my values are, to find out what I value as in terms of being a good helping people, or just generally things I value. So it can be something like an activity or a belief, for example, and I think what's helped me in recovery is to think, what will my action get me closer or further away to a life I value? And that's been such a key really into helping me when I'm stuck in decisions, to have a step back really and think, actually, is this working towards where I want to be, towards my values, or is it going against them? And that's helped me an awful lot. So V, QST, V, W. Sorry, it's so hard to kind of get the alphabet right. So W, I've decided to use the word wellness, and the reason I've done that is because well, there's a lot of things about wellness, you know, what does being well mean? And to me, it's kind of like recovery. It means that I'm I call it flourishing, and that I'm able to live a life I value. And I think one thing I'd like to point out as well is that if you say to someone, if you say to someone who, for example, has anorexia, and you know, this is not everyone, I'd like to point that out, that all of these things, it's different for every person. But if you said to someone, you know, you're looking well, they may interpret that as meaning, oh, you've noticed they've put on so much weight and they're looking, you know, some people think, oh, that means I'm looking fat now, and that's not what the person's saying. It's just the way that the eating disorder interprets what people are saying. So, like, I would really like to reiterate that's not the case for everyone, but that is sometimes what wellness means to some people. For some people, their eating disorder tells them that wellness is not a good thing, and often deep down they want it to be and they know it is, but it's really hard to fight against that voice. So X, it's kind of slightly off tangent a little bit, but X-ray, I've used that because one thing for you know, for eating disorders is the health kind of detriment, you know, in all types of eating disorders. Obviously X-ray kind of relates more to people who may have a restrictive eating disorder, because their bones won't be getting as many nutrients as it needs, like they won't be getting as much calcium and things. But it doesn't mean that you know, there are diverse effects for everyone with an eating disorder, and I think that's really important for people to realise. So yeah, I mean, obviously it is a mental illness at the end of the day, but there are those physical effects too, and I think sometimes we must recognise that there are those physical effects, even though that's a symptom and it is a mental illness. So that's the way I see it, and I know a lot of people see it that way too. Why? Do you know what? For a minute I have forgotten what I was going to use, but that doesn't matter, because I'm going to use yes. And the reason that I do that is because yes, to me, it's like, yes, you can do it. And I think that, you know, it's really hard sometimes recovering to have that kind of mindset. Yes, you are able to do it, you know, you can overcome this. And I think it's really important that people realise it is possible to recover. And sometimes you have to say yes when your eating disorder is saying no, and that's such a hard task. You know, I've been having conversations all week with people, and some people have been saying, well, why can't they just eat? Why can't, you know, they see that they're ill and just eat? And I understand it's such a hard thing to try and comprehend. Even for me who's been through it, I still don't really understand why I couldn't just eat, but I couldn't. And so yeah, I think it's being aware that, you know, there is that kind of, you've got to keep saying yes and keep keep persevering when your eating disorder isn't wanting you, is wanting you to kind of give in. So we're on the final letter for the final day, and obviously that letter is Z. Well, that's quite a hard letter, but I've chosen the word Zen, and part of that is that I want to speak a little bit about meditation. It kind of connects, I hope, because I think a lot of people don't realise what mindfulness and meditation is, and they can be really useful tools in eating disorder recovery. So sometimes it's just about being able to just give yourself time, to work on things, and meditation and mindfulness helps to kind of put those thoughts that you might get back into perspective, and just being able to sit for a few minutes and think about that present moment. It helps me a lot when I think, oh, my exams are coming up, I've got exams in 2 weeks. Obviously, it's important that you work towards those, but also I think it's important to be able to say, right, well, at this minute I'm going to do 50 words, or even I'm just doing, each word by each word, and that's really helped me. So it's not just in terms of eating disorder, it's in terms of everything that it can be quite useful with. So that is my A to Z finished. It's my final day of my monkey onesie sock challenge, and I've got to say I've really enjoyed this week. There's been so many conversations with people when I went to London, just generally around, like on the tube or in one of the libraries in London, with people around me, and yeah, it's been great. So thank you all for tuning in and for joining me on my journey, and I've got a bit of a interest now in this kind of vlogging thing, so hopefully I'll be back soon, maybe in the monkey onesie, you never know. So thank you all again. If you would like to support, it's www.justgiving.com/fundraising/sockmonkey, and once again, thank you to everyone who already has donated. We've got, I think, £370 or something so far, so that's amazing. Thank you all, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.